Hello everyone! Alright, today let us learn about narrative text. Well, when we talk about a narrative text, it cannot be separated from a story and a past experience. Most texts dealing to those objects, people usually call it narrative. So, what is narrative text actually? Well, it is a text focusing on specific participants and is a piece of text which tells a story with complications or problematic events with resolutions to solve the problems. Well, we can roughly say that narrative text is like someone with problems or complications which make their conditions get even worse. But then, those problems will lead them to resolutions that can make their conditions get better than before. Okay, now you know the definition of narrative text. Now let's continue to the generic structure. Here's the generic structure that all or almost all narrative texts follow. The first one is orientation. You can call it as exposition or the beginning of the story. In this part, the scene is set and the characters are introduced. That's why it is called the beginning of the story. The second part is complication. In another names, it is called rising action or the middle of the story. In this part, there will be new problems which add conflicts to the story and it leads us to the climax. Wow! It will be a very great climax. The third part is resolution, or we call it the ending of the story. In this part, the conflicts are solved. Well, hopefully. We have the definitions and also the generic structure. There is another important thing that we must know related to this kind of text. It is connected to the form of language used. Yeah, it's language feature. Every kind of text in English has their own language feature as well as narrative text. There are some language features used in narrative text. It uses simple past tense. Well, you need to recall back to the beginning that narrative text tells us about past experiences, which means you must use simple past tense. Then, it uses figurative language and also progressive verb. In narrative text, we tell about series of events. That's why we must use figurative language and also progressive verb. And then, it also uses temporal conjunction because each sentence or paragraph are continuing each other, so there must be connection between those paragraphs or sentences. And also, it uses dialogues to express attitudes, personality, and also relationships. Did we miss something in this part? Because I feel that we're missing something very crucial. What is it? Of course, the function of narrative text. Since each type of text has their own purpose or function, narrative text also has one too. Well, the function or the purpose of narrative text is to tell a story of something or someone from the past events. Well, it's not only that. Its function is also to entertain the readers and or listeners. Okay, that's a narrative text. Now, get up there and read some narrative text. Happy reading!
In a valley in Sumatra, there lived a farmer named Toba. He was a diligent farmer, but unfortunately, his harvest was not always bountiful, and he often went hungry. Because of his hunger, Toba went fishing in the river. He waited a long time and became desperate. When Toba was just about to go home, suddenly something tugged on his fishing line. Toba was excited and started reeling in his fishing line.
Wow, that's a big fish,
said Toba. Sure enough, at the end of the line was a large gold scaly fish. Toba immediately brought the fish home to cook. At home, Toba was disappointed because all of his firewood had been used up.
Oh, there's no firewood here. I better go look for some in the fields.
Then Toba placed the fish inside the basin, while he went to the field to collect the firewood.
I will eat well today,
said Toba while carrying the firewood behind the house. He lit the fire, but when Toba went to take the fish, he was surprised. The fish had vanished, and instead there were pieces of gold inside the basin.
Where's my fish? And whose gold is this?
Then, when Toba opened the door of his room, he was surprised. There was a tall woman combing her long hair in front of a mirror.
This woman is so beautiful. Hey, who are you?
asked Toba. The woman turned around, and Toba was fascinated. Toba had never seen a woman as beautiful as her.
I am the incarnation of the fish you caught earlier. The gold coins were my scales.
Toba was confused. The woman smiled.
I am cursed by the gods to be a fish, but thanks to you, the curse is gone now.
He said to himself,
If only she wanted to be my wife.
Apparently, the woman could read Toba's mind.
I want to be your wife, but I have one condition,
said the woman.
Just say it. What's the condition?
If we get married later, never bring up my origins as a fish. I will not be the only one who suffer the consequences if you break this agreement.
Toba agreed. For him it was an easy condition. Toba and the woman finally married. Toba was working so hard in the fields to fulfill their daily needs. Then his wife became pregnant. Toba was pleased. He couldn't wait for the birth of his child. Not long after, a baby boy was born. Toba named him Samosir. Samosir grew into a naughty, lazy child. All he did was play around. Toba tried to be patient with Samosir's behavior. Whenever Toba worked in the field, Samosir didn't want to deliver the food his wife cooked for him. In the end, it was Toba's wife who delivered the food to Toba.
My wife, you can't spoil Samosir forever. If he continues to be spoiled, it will be harder to control him.
Toba's wife smiled and said,
Be patient, my husband. One day, Samosir will change.
I've been patient enough with him, my wife, but my patience also has a limit.
One day, Toba's wife persuaded Samosir to take food to the fields for Toba. At first, Samosir refused, but his mother continued to convince him. Finally, Samosir agreed.
All right, Mom, I will deliver this food to Father.
But on his way, Samosir played with his friends instead. After playing, Samosir felt hungry.
I'm starving. I will eat this food.
Samosir then ate the food that was supposed to be for his father and left him only a little. In the fields, Toba couldn't wait any longer. He was starving. Moreover, he didn't have time to have breakfast because a lot of work needed to be done that day. In the distance, Samosir came running.
Where have you been, Samosir? Daddy has been waiting for you a long time.
Samosir did not answer and immediately gave him the food. Toba was surprised to find only the leftovers.
Hey, Samosir, have you eaten Daddy's food? Your behavior is out of line. You little fish, come here.
Toba was angry at Samosir, without realizing he had spoken of the restrictions his wife had previously warned him of. Toba hit Samosir until he cried loudly. Samosir then ran to the house.
Mother! Mother!
At home, Samosir told everything to his mother.
Mother! Father said that I am the child of a fish. Is it true, Mom?
Toba's wife felt sad because Toba had brought up her origins. Then she told Samosir to run up the hill.
Samosir, quick! Run up to the hill, son, before the flood comes.
Okay, Mom.
Samosir obeyed her. Immediately the sky was dark and lightning struck. A flood appeared from the river. Toba's wife suddenly jumped towards the tide and became a fish again. Toba, who was working in the fields, was shocked to see the flood coming towards him.
What's this water? Why is this happening?
He didn't have time to escape. Toba drifted and sank into the flood. Soon the surge flooded the entire valley and left only the top of the hill in the middle where Samosir was hidden. The flood had created a lake, and Samosir became an island. That is why the lake is named Lake Toba, and the island in the middle is called Samosir.